Om Shanti. Are you all happy? Today we are going to see a strange fact that we are in fact imprisoning the God Himself without even being aware of it. On listening to God's knowledge, people would ask why God didn't come before 2500 years, which is when hell started. Before that it was heaven. This world was heaven. That's how God created in the beginning. So that was filled with health, wealth, peacefulness and blissfulness. We lived in golden palaces, and lion and cow, they drank milk together from the same pond, which means they don't feed on each other. Everybody showed love to each other. That was the kind of world we lived for the first 2500 years. But what happened after that is we become body conscious, because before that we were soul conscious. We considered ourselves to be the soul that shines like a tiny star in between the eyebrows. So we were aware that it is the soul that sees through the eyes and speaks through the mouth. It is the soul that performs all actions through the body. But unfortunately, after 2500 years, we lost soul consciousness and become body conscious, because of which we got addicted to the sensual pleasures, thereby got addicted to the five vices: lust, anger, greed, attachment and ego, because of which we are committing sin after sins, thereby facing all the punishment in the form of diseases, natural calamities, poverty, as the consequence of our sins. That is why people listening to this knowledge, direct knowledge of God for the first time, ask, it would be nice that if God came before 2500 years and prevented us from committing sins. But though there are many reasons why He didn't come before 2500 years, that is the beginning of hell, it is very nicely explained in Uddhav Gita, where Uddhav, the charioteer of Sri Krishna, poses several controversial questions to Sri Krishna. And Sri Krishna gives an excellent answer for all questions. The essence of the communication between them is, Uddhav asks, who is a true friend? And Krishna says, friend who helps without asking for it is considered the true friend. Then Uddhav asked why he didn't prevent Pandavas from gambling with Kauravas, because they were evil. Sri Krishna should have interrupted in the middle and stopped Yudhishthira from playing with Duryodhana. Okay, at least when the gambling was going on, at least the result of the gambling should have favored Pandavas. Sri Krishna might have played some magic in making the dice favoring Yudhishthira, but that was not the case. He was failing, losing himself, his country to Duryodhana. Okay, at least now he should have stopped the Yudhishthira. Now he is gambling with his other brothers and his wife as a pledge. Now, again, he lost everything to Duryodhana. Now, Duryodhana pulls Draupadi by his hair in the court. Even then, Sri Krishna didn't stop that. Only when Draupadi was about to be disrobed and she was crying out loud Sri Krishna's name, only then you helped her. So what's the point of coming only in the climax? That's what he asked. Sri Krishna smilingly replied that he cannot be blamed for anything, because when he started playing with Duryodhana, Yudhishthira prayed to Sri Krishna that Sri Krishna shouldn't enter the court, because he shouldn't see the kind of act he is doing. So it's more like arresting God outside. Sri Krishna has been waiting outside the court, eagerly expecting somebody to call him in, but nobody did. Duryodhana was more intelligent compared to Yudhishthira, because he has property to pledge, but he has no talent to play the dice. So he made his uncle Shakuni to play. Whereas Yudhishthira, he could have said that he wanted Sri Krishna to play for him, but he didn't do that. And also, when he was losing all his brothers and himself, nobody thought of Sri Krishna even for a second. They were just cursing Duryodhana. And when Dukshasana was pulling Draupadi by her hair, she was using her force to argue with the court members instead of thinking of Sri Krishna for help. Only while she was about to be disturbed, she stopped making her own effort and started surrendering to Sri Krishna by calling out his name. That is when Sri Krishna helped her. So, where can you blame me? It is all their fault. They didn't want me to come there. On hearing this intelligent reply, Uddhav was really amazed. But still, he continued. So, would you help only when somebody calls you out? Is that the duty of God? You would see all the bad things happening right in front of you, and you will never help the good people unless they call you? God smiled and said, I don't interfere in the law of karma. If they have committed good deeds in their past, they will definitely reap the benefit of it. If they have committed the bad karma, obviously they will be reaping the pain as a consequence of it. He will never interfere with it. That's how the world goes. He is just a bystander, watching everything as a witness. So on hearing this, he got furious. Uddhav got furious. So you just watch us committing sin after sin without even stopping us. Is that the duty of God? For that, Sri Krishna says, please listen to it very carefully. I said I'd be standing beside you as a witness. When you are aware of me standing next to you, you will never have a thought of committing any sins. But you refuse to accept that I am near you. That is when you start committing sins. If you know that I am next to you, how can you dare to commit any sin? That is what Sri Krishna's reply is, that satisfied with the 100%, and that should satisfy everybody. Yes, no matter what sins we commit, whether it's lust, anger, greed, attachment and ego, jealousy, revenge, anything, we will still be reminded by God that what we are doing is wrong. Nonetheless, we continue to do wrong. We know for sure that somebody invisible is standing next to us and warning us against committing those sins. But still, we are doing those sins. Even after that, he uses some humans to warn you against your sins. But still, you are careless, paying no attention to their warnings. Especially when it comes to lust, you will definitely be reminded that what you are doing is wrong. Whether it's looking at girls or pornographic movies, whatever, any kind of sexual acts, whether with your partner or with movies, you will still be aware that somebody is watching you. That is why you will be frequently checking whether the door is actually closed, whether there is somebody watching you. It is none but God reminding you that you shouldn't do that. But you are doing it anyway. As a result, you are reaping the outcome, which is going to be all sort of suffering in the form of disease, poverty, everything. And now you blame God for the sickness you got, for the coronavirus you got, for everything. But it is you who did everything. And one more thing is, we are pure by birth. We learn impurity from the external world. Everybody knows killing animal is a sin. Unfortunately, we don't remember that while eating non-vegetarian food. In some YouTube videos where they show the killing of animals by another animal, and people would comment, it is very cruel that somebody is taking video of that instead of preventing the life of that animal. But the same people who were commenting this were eating non-vegetarian food. So they've become so much addicted to that their mind no longer thinks that they are committing sins. That is how sensual pleasures makes you not to think, makes you dull-minded. Once you become dull-minded, you will start making sin after sin. So when you ignore the advice of others against the sins we've been committing, it's more like arresting God outside the area you are committing sin. And now God teaches you to stay away from those 5 vices And the only way to have the power to stand against those vices is by remembering God as a point of light, because that's how He is. He is also a soul just like us in the golden red colored light world called the soul world. And that's where we were initially. Only from there we entered the heaven, and we were happy, peaceful, blissful, ever healthy and ever wealthy for the first 2500 years. Then after committing sins due to body consciousness, we are facing the consequences of that. So to get rid of that, we need to constantly remember Him to the extent that we forget our own body and everything we believe to be ours. So all we should remember is we consider ourselves to be the point of light, and also we need to consider God to be a point of light. Other than that, there shouldn't be anything in your mind. That's the thing, that's Raj Yoga. We need to remember God after becoming soul conscious. It is by remembering God, our soul is being filled with power to get rid of all the vices, thereby becoming as pure as God, thereby becoming eligible to enter heaven in the beginning itself. That's what God teaches. But we need to fill our mind with the thoughts of God and with the thoughts of the knowledge of God. The knowledge given by God is called Murli, which is available in all Raj Yoga meditation centers and in many websites and YouTube, the link of which I give in the description below this video. Please make use of that video. Always listen to the Murli daily in the morning itself. Then think over the important points of the Murli throughout the day, so that it serves as a protection for you against the vices, against the sins. But if you don't, then you will keeping the God away from you, so that you will be busy committing sin after sin. So that's going to put you into more and more trouble. You don't want that to happen. So if you pay less attention to God and His words, it is not His fault, because He is teaching you the way to wash off all the sins very easily. Just remember a point. Remember God as a point. That's it. But we need to remember Him continuously, because we have sinned for the past 2500 years. Compared to that, remembering God continuously for the next 5 to 10 years is not a big issue. We need to completely wipe out all the sins from our souls. The only way to do that is to remember God. So hold on to God steadfastly. Don't let Him go. If you let Him go, you will be holding on to all these sins. That's going to give you more and more punishments. When you are committing any sin, for example, if you are doing some sin out of lust, if you are seeing a girl out of lust, then you will quickly be reminded the word of God, which says you should never see a girl with lust. You should see her just as a point of light that operates this body, as your brother or sister. So that will come into your mind. When you ignore that and continue to watch her out of lust, it obviously means you are imprisoning God outside of the place where you commit sins, because you don't want God or His knowledge to interrupt you. So is that the God's fault? So always keep this essence of Uddhav Gita in mind, so that you can free yourself from all these sins and you can keep yourself safe forever, especially during these end times where it's going to be filled with sins around us. Om Shanti. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button and leave your valuable comments in the comment section, and do share this video with all your friends and family members. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe. Thanks again for watching.